Respect the voodoo.
Greetings, greetings, and salutations. Honor and respect, honor and respect. It is another edition of Revolutionary Hoodoo, New Orleans Voodoo Secrets and Recipes. Voodoo Hoodoo 101. I am your co host, Voodoo Chief, the Divine Prince, Emmecca, Pan African Spiritualist, Practitioner, Author, and Advisor, Lagoon, Oloye, Hoodoo, Obeah, Okua. I am also joined this evening by my first priest and my wild man, Joshua Nyland Tanner. And I'm assuming my other co host will show up at some point as we move forward. There's so much I want to talk about tonight. I wanted to continue on with our theme in our history about hoodoo and and voodoo and its various incarnations in the so-called new world. But tonight, based on what's going on locally here in our news and in our culture, I also want to talk a little bit more about Marie Laveau. Before becoming a charming little New Orleans home, it was the center of Marie Laveau's voodoo business, as well as the family forever home. She was the voodoo queen of New Orleans. It was a business for her and a way to make a living. She was also a devout Catholic, which was her true faith, so it said. She traveled among the sick with Pierre Antoine, nursing the people struck by yellow fever. The original house that existed here was built by Marie Laveau's grandmother, Catherine Henry, after she had bought the land in 1798. Marie grew up here as a child, as her grandmother Catherine was her guardian. Marie had a common law husband, Jean Louis Christophe Duminy de Glapion, who came from an upper class white family. They were not allowed to be married because Marie was mulatto or a free woman of color. Her husband claimed to be mulatto too, so the authorities left him alone. When Catherine Henry died, the legal heirs, Marie and her cousins, decided to sell the property to pay for Catherine's debts. Jean Louis Christophe Duminy de Glapion stepped up to the plate and bought the family home. He put it in the deed that the children produced with Marie will inherit the house. He and Marie moved into this now old abode cottage. They had 7 children, but were unlucky. Out of the 7 children, only 2 made it to adulthood. Marie Eloise and Marie Philomene, who survived and were able to live here as well as with their children and their spouses. 4 children died in infancy: Marie Louise, Christophe, Jean Baptiste, and Francois Maurice, and one died in early childhood. I believe his name was Archange, Archange, Archange Edouard at age 6. This house was not only the family forever home, it was also where Marie Laveau did her work in voodoo and was a safe house for many in need. Orphans and Choctaw vendors found shelter here. And the story of the Choctaw is important because, as I've stated in previous podcasts, Congo Square was indeed sacred ground, sacred space before the arrival of the enslaved African, and it also was in close proximity to a major trade route coming from the lake and across the lake region into this region that became New Orleans and ultimately made its way down, I believe, Elysian Fields to the river. So there was a relationship, if you will, between the settling community, the enslaved population, and the Choctaw. While simple looking on the outside, the interior had elaborate altars with statues of saints, animal parts, and effigies. Part of her voodoo business had her holding ceremonies in Congo Square on Sundays, where she had also learned about the people who would become her clients, and also has been documented in some literature as far as the bayous. And in her later years, she slowly stopped practicing voodoo and focused on her Catholic faith. She went to mass every day and worked with death row prisoners, helped them to confess their sins. In some cases, documented to have helped beat cases that were pending against offenders. She surrounded herself with Christian holy pictures and other relics of the faith. And Marie Laveau stayed here in this family house most of the time uh, when she became sick, starting around 1875, and lived out her days, dying 6 years later. The two surviving children, as grown women, raised their own children in this house, their family forever home. And one of her daughters continued in the voodoo business. By 1903, Marie's house was a dilapidated fixer upper. And so it was torn down, and a new house was built on the original foundations. It is a handsome little house, and it has been kept up throughout the years through dedicated ownerships and has become a part of the major tourist route here in the French Quarter. And as of 2020, it is a rental for tourists visiting New Orleans. And they have said to have witnessed paranormal activities taking place on this property in this reconstructed house, if you will, on St. Anne Street. So this is relevant, and particularly today, because the house at 1020 St. Anne Street reeked of smoke. The kitchen walls were blistered from the fire, according to NOLA.com. The ceiling charred and the floor covered in wet soot. Everyday household items and family mementos were melted and smudged. The house at the edge of the French Quarter was built in 1905 atop of the site of the 19th century cottage where legendary voodoo queen Marie Laveau lived until her death in 1881. And even today, it's a destination for visitors seeking a touchstone with the Crescent City cultural icon. The ornamental iron bars over the windows are covered in ribbons and beads and hair bands and other small offerings to Marie Laveau, who was said to have been a hairdresser as well as a mystic reader, psychic, and a healer. The practice of leaving items at that property really only began after the Catholic Church in more recent years blocked access to uh, Marie Laveau's tomb or the family tomb in St. Louis Cemetery number one, primarily due to vandalism, but also to sort of curtail the retelling of her story outside of, you know, qualified, so-called qualified, trained tour guides and master educators. And so that practice of marking the tomb, which was always illegal, but was shut down, people having sort of free access in and out of the cemetery, was basically blocked during COVID, and now only limited to paid qualified tours with a specific tour company here, in the city. So it's the headline for us for today. I certainly want to thank you all for showing up so faithfully and committedly. Nina Lloyd, thank you so much, beloved, for your continued presence. Lydia Morton, thank you so much. Peace and blessings to you and yours. Ray Alexander, greetings and salutations. Glad you were here with us as well. Elder Reggie, we see you in the chat. Your device is not connecting on stage, so I can't access your mic or your camera. Try uh, resetting that unless you have it just turned off temporarily, and that's fine too. I certainly want to also introduce my co-host, my godchild, my first priest, my wild man, Joshua Nyland
How you,
Terrence.
how you
Greetings and
guys doing today?
salutations.
Doing well. Doing well. Doing well. Yeah, we have a lot going on here in New Orleans right now. It's pretty right around the corner.
Oh yeah,
but
yeah. The music is literally vibrating the walls, but we get used to that.
yeah, yeah, and it's yeah. I heard of that this morning of the fire, and as you know, I was out in the French Quarter last night, but I didn't get. They said that fire went off around like four o'clock in the morning. So
Hmm. Hmm.
that's an early morning fire. I'm glad. I'm just glad no one got injured and no one was hurt.
No, no.
Yeah.
And I am, relatively friendly with the property owners. One sister to the owner is whose post I really sort of alerted to about the fire. And then her sister, who is a Cajun tour operator in the French Quarter, um, I subsequently found posts that she had made and pictures of the fire and the damage. Greetings, Elder Reggie, Green Soap. We can see you and hear you now. Come on in, beloved. How you doing?
Yes. Greetings, everyone. I'm grateful and I'm thankful to be here again tonight. Divine, I caught a little bit of it. I don't get New Orleans news. Are you saying the house on St. Anne, not too
Yes,
far from Congo Square, caught a fire? The Marie Laveau house?
yes,
When it
yes.
happened, if you don't mind.
10, 1020 St. Anne. And according to the document Joshua read, because I don't have it right in front of me, it occurred probably this morning around 4 o'clock.
Yeah, 4 a.m.
Mm-hmm. 4
Oh,
a.m. this morning.
wow, wow,
And we certainly have our
wow.
beloved
That's,
Queen Mother, Sister Val. You please come on in, beloved.
mm-hmm.
Greetings and salutations.
Hey, greetings, Alafia, everyone. Happy to be here. Hello, Joshua, Elder
Hello.
Reggie. Yeah, I,
Yes, yes.
I just got alerted to it by you, Prince, that it had caught fire. It's a lot of stuff going on in this city. They just captured another one of the escapees from the jailhouse.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
Mm-hmm.
4 captured.
Okay.
That was symbolic to me of runaway slaves. Then the plantation burnt down to the ground, and the ancestors was happy. Now Marie Laveau house, they say is really the back part, and you can't really tell too much from the front that is all burnt up. They had a lot of pictures the Advocate had a lot of pictures of the inside, and they say it's uninhabitable because it's water soaked.
Yes.
And Annabelle going on to Texas.
Lord.
uh,
And we're gonna see what's gonna get burnt down there, I guess.
I guess.
Is Annabelle's mark this season fire? Is it fire?
Mm.
Someone in TikTok tried to suggest, and certainly I don't agree, that it was actually a trap enslaved soul in the doll of Annabelle. But just with simple research, you understand that the Warrens believed that the doll was actually a vehicle for demonic influence and was seeking a human host for which to inhabit. And so by keeping it locked away, it's supposed to prevent it from, I guess, being able to sort of transfer, or inhabit a human host, if you will. But the fire, you know, that's, that could be a whole nother thing. Anger, vengeance.
Yeah, it was said that Annabelle was a demonic spirit wanting to possess a living being and make them do all kind of horrible things. And by keeping it in glassed up, it couldn't get out to possess somebody. I saw what they was doing with it in Texas, where they were showing it off in Texas with the priests and saying the prayers and throwing the holy water and anointing the head of those guys that's traveling around with it. And Annabelle sitting up there looking like she looking for Andy. Raggedy Ann. They got that other doll that's a male doll in a sailor suit that's also said to be possessed. He's also a type of rag doll. Maybe if they put them two together, they'll stop trying to possess people and just fall in love or something. But yeah, it's quite interesting. And my mind keeps going back to the lady. What's the bone lady? The bone lady. My mind keeps going back. I keep seeing her doing her little so-called ritual. I said, Lord. But I don't know.
Sister Bell, I have a question for you. And you seem you're a real good researcher. And this a little bit piggyback off the last meeting. I Googled the word plantation voodoo. I cannot find anything. I wanted to do research on it. I know you're a good researcher. Are you familiar or have you ever heard of plantation voodoo?
Well, you might want to try plantation hoodoo.
All right. Okay, now. Yes.
Hoodoo.
Hoodoo. Okay.
That's mainly what was practiced on the plantation. You could try Googling that. You could put hoodoo rituals practice on plantations.
Good. Yes. And I
That
was
might
able
help
to
you.
find information around plantation hoodoo. I couldn't find nothing on plantation voodoo. So you are right. You're such a good researcher, and I appreciate that.
Plantation voodoo is root work, conjure, hoodoo. Absolutely.
Thank you, Divine. Thank you. Yep. Yeah.
Ray Alexander had a question in there. He was asking about the plantation. The plantation wasn't the house of Marie Laveau. We was talking about actually the house on St. Anne Street outside the French Quarter that ended up getting burned down. I didn't want them to be confused, the chat to be confused.
Okay.
No, it's two different
buildings
buildings
and locations.
and locations. One was the house in New Orleans that Marie Laveau lived in and her children lived in. And the other was the largest plantation in the state of Louisiana, located in White Castle, Louisiana.
Mm-hmm.
It burnt to the ground. It burnt. It burnt strange to me because when you look at the pictures of the fire, that fire is so intense, but the whole house is still standing while it's burning.
Yeah. If you don't mind, Sister Toni, I'm 30-year firefighter, city of New Orleans.
Uh-huh.
Because of the pillars, those Greek pillars, that was the foundation. The slaves, I don't know how they done it, but the foundation, the framing of the round of the plantation was pillars, and it's hard for those to burn.
What
That's
is
why
a special kind of wood that they make those pillars out of?
no, it's a granite. It's actually a granite rock.
Oh.
Stone. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they had to shape that granite,
Yes, ma'am.
move that granite down
Yes, ma'am.
to, oh my goodness, and without tools, without the modern day tools we have.
Mm-mm. And you see such a beautiful display of it at the on Canal, and it's called the courthouse, not the courthouse, the custom house on Canal and North Peters.
Uh-huh.
That's a period of that same type model.
Wow,
Yeah.
because it just gave me the creeps looking at that house standing while it was in intense heat like that.
Yeah. And
And you
see,
can see the whole framing of the building.
yeah, and one reason you don't see firefighter apparatus or firemen trying to put that Nottingham plantation fire out, because the fire had too much of a leeway and they didn't want to risk losing people's lives.
Yes, but you know they put it out the first time.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they put it out. They thought it was out. And you know how they'll leave a couple of firefighters behind
Yes,
in
yes,
case
ma'am.
something flare up again?
Yes, ma'am.
It flared up again, and when it flared up with a vengeance.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah, it flared up with that big flame, that red and orange flame. It came back with a vengeance.
So is it possible Annabelle opened up some sort of portal or doorway that's allowing these ancestors, these dead spirits to come through and wreak havoc?
Divine, I would like to second what you're saying, because portals are real. Energy exchange is real. And something of that nature, if we would dig deep and do a deep dive, we probably come up with just what you said. Some type of portal was open around that doll.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they opened up some kind of portal.
Mm-hmm.
Likewise.
I mean, it's just, I don't know, the air in the city seemed funny to me.
Yeah. I was telling Divine Prince that earlier today. I said outside. This is before I even found out anything about the house. I found out about the house later this afternoon, the Marie Laveau house, and I was like, man, something's off. Something's different about outside today. I don't know what it is.
Something been off to me ever since the jailbreak. I ain't gonna lie. Something just been off. I can't quite put my finger on it, and I haven't really had time to meditate on it. One of my grandchildren graduated from elementary school from 8th grade, going into high school today. And for the last
Well,
couple of days my
congratulations.
mind been cash Prince, Aisha's son.
Mm-hmm.
but my mind been elsewhere and stuff. But I said tomorrow I was gonna go sit on my porch and see what my spidey senses pick up.
Mm.
Just sit there and see and try to meditate and see if I could just feel something. I mean, we are hot extremely early in the season, and that's not good. We hitting feels like 100. I'm sure y'all all seen the devastation that's been going through St. Louis,
Mm-hmm.
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 Kentucky.
Mississippi, Arkansas. Chicago had a dust storm that completely blacked out the downtown like nighttime. They say they haven't had a dust storm since the Depression.
Wow.
Remember the Dust Bowl is what caused the Depression?
Mm-hmm.
The dust storms, they haven't had a dust storm in Chicago since then. So you got all this stuff going on above us also. And I don't know, but it always was my understanding that tornadoes didn't really hit the city because of the buildings. They hit out in the open areas. But these tornadoes literally tore up St. Louis, parts of Arkansas, and Mississippi. Looked like bombs were dropped.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was unprecedented. Now that is historically Tornado Alley. St. Louis has been having tornadoes and really had stronger tornadoes back a few decades ago. But what's happening right now is certainly some connection to climate change, and it's unprecedented.
We got to get our mojo bags out for this hurricane season in about 2 weeks. Getting ready
Yeah,
to
I'm
come
really
in here.
concerned. Yeah, I'm really concerned about a major storm, but I'm even more concerned about it hitting um, some region, maybe north of us or just slightly east or west of us that is not generally accustomed to getting storms. But something major is coming our way.
Mm. You know, with that being said, in the Orange Man fired the director of FEMA, if we get a catastrophic storm, hurricane, I don't think the federal government gonna be there to help make us right again. I think we're on our own.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it's supposed to be. He wanted to dismantle the whole FEMA agency. And when the guy who he appointed over it said he didn't think that was a good idea to do, he fired him and put a yes man in his place.
Mm-hmm.
But I was looking to see what did he say about the devastation with the tornadoes that happened. And he said that the federal government would do all they could to help them. But he cut off all the aid. I can't remember where this is, where the whole mountain was sliding down and people never had dealt with that before.
It was West Virginia.
The flood.
Yeah. Oh, that
And the
was.
whole town was wiped out. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
in Virginia.
Yeah. West
He
Virginia.
stopped aid going to them that was promised to them from Biden.
That's right.
And he stopped that aid. So I generally don't believe anything he says because he flip-flops. He said he was cutting out FEMA so that the states would have to do their own. We all know the states, especially Louisiana, ain't never got no money for nothing.
Nothing. Right.
The reason why FEMA was started by Jimmy Carter in the first place was because the state itself the various states could not assist its citizens the way they needed to, so he created FEMA. Our parents and grandparents that went through Hurricane Betsy, they didn't have FEMA.
No, it didn't.
It didn't.
They had communities though, man. My family used to tell me stories about Bessie and Camille.
Yeah, Camille.
All the time.
All the time, yeah.
All the
Well,
time.
they didn't have FEMA back then, and people had to really rebuild. And that's another thing. If you go into debt to rebuild your house and put your property, your land up as collateral, that was another reason that poor people stayed poor, and Jimmy Carter saw this. He was the poor man's president because he was a poor man.
Yep. Yeah.
So now he's trying to destroy that. Trump looked like he's trying to destroy everything good that every president did, not just Biden, not just Obama. He's going back to Kennedy. I mean, and destroying by him digging up Jackie Kennedy's rose garden. Every time, the first time he did it, and now he did it and paved it over, because when he did it, he dug it up when Obama got in office. Well, when Biden got in office, his wife put it back as best she could from using pictures of the original rose garden.
Okay.
So this time, Trump dug it up and paved it over to make sure nobody can't go back unless they tear up all that concrete and put the rose garden back in. So, and I got, you know, he the only president in the White House that never had a pet, right? No dog couldn't be around him because the dog would constantly be barking because he's a demon.
I heard.
That's why he don't want no dogs or cats around him. He don't want no animals around him. And when they did try to put an eagle by him, the eagle attacked him.
Yes, indeed.
For a photo op with the bald eagle, the eagle attacked him. So we just have to depend on our own resources and have it in our mind that we need to start gathering our canned goods, our batteries, our solar energy to help us, because I don't think we're gonna get too much help.
That we got to depend on our communities, like they did back in the day. Our neighbors, our people that's local in the area that we know we can depend on.
Back in the day, we knew who our neighbors were.
Yeah.
Well, time once again, I got an echo. It's time once again for us to close out.
Yeah, Val. You have a serious echo.
I have a serious echo.
We certainly appreciate everyone for showing, and we look forward to your being present with us again on tomorrow evening at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time for more revolutionary hoodoo, New Orleans voodoo secrets and recipes, voodoo 101, if you will. Until then, remembering that all is truly and indeed a blessing, and no matter what you do, respect the voodoo.
Ashe.
See y'all tomorrow.
Good night. Yeah.
Good night.